Hello, Purple Loves. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing wonderful. Guys, today, look, I got my little board. I got the big board behind me, but we using this one today. We are talking about effective communication. Okay. Are you listening to respond to people, or are you listening to actually understand? This is very important, especially when we're talking about attracting abundance, attracting high vibrations, being on high frequencies. It is very important that you are actually communicating in a way that is effective, meaning when someone is presenting a problem, a situation to you, you're actually listening so you can understand before you respond. Because when you think about it, how are you responding to something effectively if you don't understand what is needed? And before I even go into all of that, I'm going to go into a story that inspired this whole discussion. So, yesterday, guys, yesterday was the first day of school, right? My little sixth grader, first day of school. And new school, new town, you guys know, new apartment, um, new location. So I said, all right, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to take you to school. Took her to school. We go through the paperwork and everything. And initially, I told her I was going to pick her up from school, but she wanted to ride the bus. No problem. Also, she asked me if she could take her phone to school. Should have listened. We'll get to that. But I was like, I don't want any issues. I don't want you using your phone when you're not supposed to. Just leave your phone at home. No problem. After I went through everything with the school, I decided, you know what, I'll go ahead and let her ride the bus. She probably wants to, she'll make some friends and wants to ride the bus with them. No problem. I send a note. They get the note to her. We're all good to go. The school lets out at 4:05. At about 4:15, right? I get an email. It says that the buses are running late. No problem. So 5 o'clock approaches, and I'm like, okay, this is like really late. What's going on? And I'm waiting in the entrance of our complex, and I see this one bus come, and it looks like one kid on this bus. And when I spoke to the bus driver's like, oh, this is a special needs bus. The buses are coming. Okay, no problem. 20 minutes later, it's about 5:30 at this point. I call the school because no buses have arrived. Call the school says, yeah, they're leaving now. They're making double runs. They're picking up the last batch of kids. We're so sorry. I said, okay, at what point should I be concerned? She said 15, 20 minutes. No problem. Look at the entrance. I see kids getting off the bus. I don't see my kid though. So I'm like, where's my daughter? What's going on? So the kids in the neighborhood, I'm like, hey, did you see this person? I describe her, everything. They're like, no, maybe she got confused and got off at the complex next to ours. Okay. I hurry up. I go to the complex. And this is typical. Look, I have the windows down. I'm yelling her name because I'm like, where's my daughter? And I figure if if the bus just dropped them off, she would hear me. Daughter, no answer, nothing. Call the school. I say, hey, the bus came, kids got off, but my daughter wasn't on the bus. What's happening? They're like, oh, what's her name? I go ahead and give them that information. They look up her bus number. They're like, oh, yeah, it left about 12 minutes ago. And I'm like, yeah, I realized that because it just came here and the kids just got off the bus, but my daughter wasn't on the bus. And, I have this thing where I don't really like to repeat myself, especially in a situation where I'm already, upset. So I'm already upset. I'm already concerned. And I've already said that the bus came, the kids got off, my daughter wasn't there. So I'm on hold. Now, at this time, it's about 6. It's after 6. I don't know, maybe 6:15. I sit in my car. I'm like, and this is how I operate. Even though I was frustrated, I was very, very frustrated and worried about where could she be, what's going on. She's not at the school. They don't know where she is. She wasn't on the bus. I can't call her, right? Because I told her to leave her cell phone at home. And then, of course, I'm thinking like, I should have followed my first mind. I should have just picked her up from school, and then we could have just done this whole thing tomorrow, which is today now. So I sit in my car and I say, okay, universe, where is my daughter? Where is she? 10 seconds later, my phone rings. It's a random person. She says, I have your daughter. 10 seconds later. Talk about mindset magic, right? Just ask and you shall receive, okay? Okay. The woman tells me, yeah, I'm in your complex. You don't live that far. We're standing outside. And of course, I'm already outside of the complex. So I'm looking like, no, you're not here. I don't know where you are, but you're not here. So she says, let me send you my location. She sends her location. Guys, she's like 10 minutes from where we live. So I'm upset. Y'all know I'm upset. You know what I'm saying? Like the bus, like, I'm like, what's going on? Like my daughter was on a bus and a bus took her to a random stop. Like what's going on? And I'm just very grateful that the woman who found her. You know what I mean? Because that could have gone really badly. So, okay. I'm a little bit more calm now that I know where she is. So I go to her, I hold her, I tell her mommy's here, it's all good. I said, probably should take the cell phone tomorrow, just saying, had to lighten it up a little bit. And the assistant principal, of course, meets us there because it's a liability. They need to know like what's going on. So, okay. That's, kind of, I at this point, I just want to get my daughter home. We get home, it's almost 7 o'clock. She got out of school at 4:05, guys. 4:05. All right. We get home. I asked my daughter, well, what, how was the rest of you? How was your day aside from this? She said, well, this was not a good day. I said, well, what else happened, baby? She said that, the school, they didn't allow her to eat lunch. I said, excuse me? She said, I gave her cash to buy lunch. So I'm concerned with this. I said, okay, so you didn't eat lunch and it's like almost 7 o'clock. So you haven't eaten at all at school today. She said, no. You guys know. You guys know. I sent this long, detailed email discussing my disdain for, how my daughter was handled with the bus situation. I understand it's the first day of school, but this is a mistake that cannot occur. This could have been very, very, very bad. And I can't worry about this. I need to know that if I put my daughter in your hands, she's going to be taken care of, right? I also expressed that, my concern that they would allow a child to go the entire day within the school from morning all the way up to this whole situation with this bus without eating. The principal calls me this morning. Communication with the principal up to par. She listened. She worked in solutions. She showed empathy. These are all signs, guys, of effective communication. Okay? These are all signs that you have to have in place when you are effectively communicating with someone. She listened to understand. Okay? So I wanted to kind of lead with a good example of listening to understand, and then we're going to go into the other communication, okay, which is not effective. So of course I share with the principal, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go to the bus stop and have a conversation with the bus driver, and that way I can introduce myself. I can say, hey, this is my daughter. She was dropped off at the wrong stop. This is her stop. Please make sure she gets home safely. Right? Sounds simple, right? Yeah, it wasn't. So this morning, I go to the bus stop, right? And the bus driver, he pulls up, and as the kids are getting to the bus, I say, hi, how are you? I tell him my name. I said, this is my daughter. She was dropped off at the wrong stop yesterday, about 10 minutes from our home. And I just want to make sure that, you know that this is her stop. Well, I didn't drive her yesterday. That's the first problem, right? When someone comes to you with a situation, okay, when you when you listen to what the situation is, it's better to have empathy. To show empathy. I understand. I'm so sorry that happened. Because mind you, we are talking about a bus driver whose job is to transport children from one place to the other. So as a parent, you know what I mean, and as a parent of one of these children, there needs to have some type of display of empathy. I'm so sorry that happened. So you guys know right away, I was just like, okay. Well, I didn't say it was you. I'm just saying I noticed that you're driving today and you're picking them up. And I would just like, if you do happen to drop the kids off, that you recognize my daughter and that this is her stop. Well, it wasn't me. There's different drivers. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of times, and it's not even this situation, because this is like, I'm using this situation to kind of segue into multiple scenarios where people tend to be on the defense. You know what I mean? Meaning you're listening already to be on attack mode, or take offense to something, instead of just acknowledging what's going on and providing a solution. For me, the solution in this scenario was very simple, because I know the kids have to go to school. I'm not trying to speak to the bus driver all day. I really don't want to speak to anyone about it. I really wanted them to just do what they're supposed to do so I can do what I need to do, right? But with the response that I got, of course, now I have to adjust my tone, and I have to get a little bit more stern. You know what I mean? And I just had to say, listen, it doesn't matter who it was. I just don't want it to happen again. If you could please take this message that I'm giving to you, relay it to your team, to be mindful of getting children to their correct bus stops. That's all. He was still combative. I said, thank you, sir. I don't have any more energy for this conversation. You have a great day. He leaves. And of course, my daughter, she's texting me, they're talking about you on the bus. I said, I don't care. I don't care, right? So, second incident. The principal, she tells me, after I tell her about the whole lunch experience, she tells me, you know what, I'm going to have the manager, that's unacceptable. That should not have happened. We were having system issues because, come to find out, they told her that she couldn't eat because she didn't have her school ID. But we've transferred schools, and apparently it's the same school ID. But neither myself nor my daughter was informed of this. Communication, guys. Communication. Information. So she says, I'm going to have the head of the cafeteria, I'm going to have him call you. No problem. I answer my phone. Hello. Hi. How can I help you? Wait, that's my line. You called my phone. My line is, hi, how can I help you? Right? So that already sets the tone. When you call someone, this is another gem for all of the customer service workers that are not really exuding customer service, like not really exuding effective communication. When you call someone, the proper thing to do would be to say, hi, this is so-and-so from the school. I spoke, in regards to, I understand you had a situation with your daughter and I wanted to discuss it. That's how you segue into a conversation. Okay? Effective communication. And I'm speaking to him, and he's telling me, yes, she has a balance and this and that. And of course, for me, when I hear balance, that means you're saying that something is owed to her. I mean, or I owe the school, right? She owes the school because it's a balance. And I said, are you saying that there's money owed and that's why she wasn't fed yesterday? And he says, well, he just keeps repeating, she has a balance, she has a balance. And I said, well, she shouldn't. There should be no fees, there should be nothing owed. And he said, no, it's a credit. I said, there's a difference, sir, between a balance and a credit, especially in the context of which we're speaking. So I need to understand why she wasn't fed yesterday. Like, what happened? Well, I fed all the kids. I knew that the system was messed up and I fed all the kids. And apparently you didn't, sir, because my child wasn't fed. She slipped through the cracks some kind of way. And for me, it took a while for him to really just listen and have empathy for me as a mom and the fact that my daughter had gone over 8 hours without eating in your school's care. You see what I'm saying? So, of course, that naturally sparked me to talk about the problem that I feel like we're having, which is basic communication. There's so many instances, guys, where we have to we gotta listen. If someone has an issue, and I see this in relationships, I mean, this is just a scenario that I'm kind of venting about, Um, you guys know I don't like pre-plan too well. That's why this is Destiny Unfiltered. So I'm kind of venting to you guys about how, what happened yesterday, because I was very, very frustrated about it. But what frustrated me even more was just how it was handled with the communication. Um, and I wanted to take a moment to speak to you guys, like, as far as if you're in relationships with people, friendships, and even businesses, you work in a customer service industry, take a moment and listen to what the other person is saying to understand where they are coming from before you respond. When you respond prematurely and the person is not being understood, it's going to create a combative situation that it could be totally avoided. Totally avoided. Try to understand where a person is coming from. I say this in your relationships, your friendships with people. It's very, very important. Because of, not necessarily that this is the main reason, but due to certain scenarios, right? Like repetitive scenarios that I've been experiencing, I have decided, guys, to relocate to Barcelona, Spain. That's so off, like, I just totally threw that in, but I have decided to do that. And um, those of you who are in America and are thinking about relocating to another country, maybe, it's just all of the things that we hear on the news, like all the time, that we hear in America that we maybe don't hear so much in other cultures, other countries. Um, that has a lot to do with it. I want my daughter to be bilingual. I want her to be fluent in Spanish and English. I feel in this day and age, I mean, Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world, and just having that knowledge, you know what I mean, definitely will take her to the next level. And as far as me wanting to teach and wanting to be an inspiration to people, I definitely feel it will give me more opportunity to reach more people, if I can definitely, become fluent in the language. I know Spanglish, but Spanglish is not gonna cut it. I need to, be able to speak it fluently as well. So I'm super excited about that. I don't want to make this like into like a super long video. I just really kind of wanted to vent about what happened yesterday, and I wanted to use that as a way to just speak about the importance of communication. the importance of understanding where someone else is coming from before you respond. And that mind, just that little bit of mindset magic, like, okay, if I'm speaking to someone, right, and if I have a problem, I want to be understood. That's really how you want to come, you want to attack it. Like, if you have a situation and you take it to someone, you want the person to understand what your problem is, because how can you resolve a problem that's not understood, right? So the same thing goes both ways. And I just feel like if we just take a little bit more time, instead of listening to respond to someone, or be offended, or take, just, if we just listen, pay attention to the details of what's being said to us, show empathy, acknowledge, I understand where you're coming from. You know, let me see what we can do. Let's try to work in work in solutions, to resolve this. I'm so sorry this happened. I understand where you're coming from. No, that was not acceptable. You're absolutely right. These are key phrases that you can use in your communication to help things go smoother, to help you maneuver through complicated situations. You can use this in your personal life, you can use this in your professional life. Please, guys, let's use it. Let's try to understand one another. And I more and more, to be honest with you, I'm just seeing a lack of it, and in our country. I really am. I see it on how, our government, approaches situations, how they speak to address the public, how they speak to one another, it's just so much, and I'm just really over it. I'm just over it, and I want to expand, and I want my daughter to expand as well. So I will probably be making some videos about that. I know a while ago I was doing this whole, hey, I need to teach myself Spanish, and the words of my soul, reciting my poetry in Spanish, and reading it out for you guys. I'm actually going to venture back into that. As far as any other updates, I'm trying to think. As far as employment, I did pick up a night gig, and for now, and then during the day, what I am working on is an Etsy store, and I'll be talking more about that. So I'm putting some systems and some processes in place so that when we do relocate, there are some passive income streams coming in that will fuel us. And then hopefully, I would love to be able to teach creative writing and English in Spain. That would be, oh, so awesome. And that's basically all I have for you guys today. It's been a while since I've sat in front of the computer and went live. So I'm super excited to finally have things kind of set up where I could do that. That wall looks, well, not that wall, but this wall. Okay, there we go. That wall over there looks a little empty, so I'll probably do something about that. It's going to be my poetry wall. If you guys didn't know, I am creating digital wall art. So I'm really mostly just selling the actual download, so that if you want to, have a small piece of, like a small canvas or a frame or something to that effect, or you want to create a greeting card, you basically can just download the file and do what you will. So I'm excited about venturing into that. I don't know why it took me 20 years to do that, but I'm doing it now. I'm actually in a happy space. I'm super excited for this next chapter with you guys, and just in general. And I'm hoping to really, really just share a lot more with you guys, especially with what I learned, and just speaking to you about being mindful, speaking to you about mindset magic, how how your mind operates, how you view things, how you react to things. These things matter, what you say to yourself, what you say to others, how you react in your own situations, how you react to others. those things matter. They matter so much. And it really can make a difference in your life if you just take the time to just understand, communicate effectively, listen to understand, not to respond. So, on that note, guys, you have been updated. That's all I have. You'll see me again. But on that note, I'm out. Have a good one.